So I did what I said I was going to do. I made a task list for myself. I used Notion. I thought about using Jira. I thought about using GitHub projects, but Notion is pretty nice because you can add whatever you want. It's pretty flexible. So for example, I added a couple categories here, like what the feature is and what the platform is. So like these are all app, but then there's back end as well. In the future, if I ever want to work on the web app, I can add web there. And you can see I've got quite a few here, and I've already knocked some out. So I want to go through the progress I made. I displayed some resources and subjects. So if you remember, in these bottom tabs, I had resources and subjects, and they were just mapping text. But now I have these fancy dancy list items with the title and description of each resource. Now I have this chevron going to the right, and right now it's just console logging resource details because I intend for that to navigate to a resource details screen, which I haven't made yet. And of course this is a flat list, so I have the pull to refresh functionality. Oh, I see it goes off the page when I pull, so I just need to make that flex 1 so it takes up the full height of the screen, it looks like. But anyway, it looks nice. And I did the same for subjects. So I have the list of subjects here, and I can expand it. And then I have the same thing with the title and description of the resource, and I'll be able to click on it, see it console logs for now. And I can go to that resource. And it goes down. Oh, now this is behind that floating button. So what I'm going to have to do is add some margin or padding on the bottom of the screen so that I can go above the floating action button here. There's just all these little things. And once again, I pull to refresh, and you can see that I actually made an API call there, and then I can collapse these. So looks pretty nice. So let's look at the code a little bit here. Under screens, I have the resources and subject screen, right? Resource screen. Here I have the data in a flat list. And flat list is really nice because instead of rendering all the items at once, like in scroll view, it renders only a handful of items, and then as you scroll, it renders more. So it supports like infinite scrolling, like Twitter or whatever. So I have the flat list, and the items that I'm rendering is resource list item, and then that's just a list item. And here's where I'm going to have it navigate in the future to the resource details screen. And then in the subject screen, now this was a little bit more complicated because I didn't want to just render the subjects, right? I wanted the resources too. So I have the use get subjects query, but I also have the use get resources query. And I just renamed data to subject data or resource data. Data. Did you say data or data? So anyway, so I'm fetching 2 different data sets here from the API. And then in the subject accordion, I'm passing in each subject as the data, but I'm also passing the resource data. So in the subject accordion, so each subject, that's going to be the item, is the subject I'm passing down. And then here it's going to have all the resources, but I'm filtering them based on the subject matching the item name. There were different approaches I could have taken, and this is the one that seemed to make the most sense using the flat list, but we'll see if I revisit it in the future. So list accordion, these are all just components from React Native paper that I'm using. Each list accordion, that's a list accordion, is rendering a flat list. And that flat list, the data for the flat list is subject resources. So the resources that are related to that subject. So it looks nicer, it's working nicer. Apparently I still have a couple tiny tweaks to make, but so far so good. I decided to do some of this UI stuff just for fun, but there's some very important login stuff that I need to deal with. Because when my JWT, my JSON Web Token expires, I'm still logged in. Because all I'm checking for is whether there's a token stored locally. And if there is, the app thinks I can log in. But the API, if I send that token, says, no, not a valid token because it's expired. So I want to implement a refresh token. First of all, refresh token functionality to the back end, and also checking to see if the token is expired, and send the refresh token. And also, did I add a card for this? Nope, I need a card for that as well. If the refresh token is expired, to log the user out automatically so that they have to log back in. So that's another card I need to add. But it's just so helpful having these tickets laid out here so I don't just get overwhelmed like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do, I don't even know where to start. And they're broken down pretty well so that I can handle one of these tickets in a morning or an afternoon. Some of them take a little bit longer, some of them are a little shorter. All these different login things is going to be my next thing, because you can have an app that looks really pretty and looks really nice, but if it doesn't work, it's no good. So if my token is expired and I try getting my resources or doing anything, nothing is going to work, and unless I log out and log back in again. So I need to add that functionality.